Hello, welcome to Last Bell Boxing. We have a special today, joined by Harry Ashton from John Ashton Promotions. How are you, mate?
Good, thank you, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, really, really good.
Good.
We've got a stellar card coming up from your promotion, which we'll talk about shortly. But before we do that, mate, I just want to touch on something that we've spoke about on an interview recently. We have a guy come on the show quite a lot, and I think you know I'm going to talk about. And we called him the youngest matchmaker in the country,
Yeah,
and um, and that's now not the case because you are.
that's right. Yeah, Jack Gladman. Yeah, no, I like to
Jack.
mind.
Jack will love this when he watches it back. But um, you've now taken that mantle by a very short few days, I believe.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what age he is, to be fair, but I'm definitely younger than him. And it was, to be fair, I think it was one of the first things I said to him when I spoke to him. Actually, I was like, "I'm pretty sure I've took your youngest matchmaker's license."
He'll be
So
gutted. Bless
have
him.
a bit of a laugh about that. To be fair.
So do me a favour, take me back. And I know you've. This isn't the first dealings you've had in boxing. Working on your dad's promotion. You were working over in Canada for a while, wasn't you?
Yeah, I spent 2 years in Canada, Toronto, working with a promoter called Lee Baxter. Um, I was only looking the other day actually at the shows we did. We did quite a few shows really. We did the first His Own show in Canada. I think that was my second or third one there. Um, the last one we had Amanda Galley win the IBO World Bantamweight title, I think it was. So we did quite a few good shows over there. Did a few in Niagara Falls with Lucas Bardi, who's now with on Jake Paul's promotion.
Okay.
And he got that big knockout versus H2O Silva, I think his name is. But yeah, no, I was over there for 2 years. Honestly, it was brilliant. Met some great people. Um, Made a lot of good friends. So no, I loved it over there. It was brilliant.
That must have stood you in really good stead to come back over here and hit the ground running for John Ashton Promotions.
Yeah, I think it did. I think I learned a lot over there. 'Cause I mean, I was always kind of somewhat involved before I went. Probably
Yeah,
not to
yeah.
the level, definitely not to the level I am now, or I was in Canada. A lot of it was just helping out when needed, kind of thing. So to go over there and get all that experience and just have like different scenarios that you probably wouldn't even get over here. To be fair, like I'd very much doubt you get a flight cancelled over here because of a volcano erupting in Mexico, but you got it over there a few times. So coming from that kind of stuff and coming back here, it's interesting to see how it kind of worked the difference of being over there and over here. Like what's the different in the sport as well. So, but no, loads of experience over there is brilliant.
Now, these you've got an unthankable task as a matchmaker. You've got managers and trainers and boxers constantly on at you. When am I next out? Who have you got for me?
Yeah.
And you're really under the cosh, aren't you, to produce. Well, especially when you're bringing fighters through, you're really under the cosh to produce the correct opponents at the correct time.
Yeah, 100%. And for us as well, we like to put on fights that deliver for the fans as well. So it's kind
Yeah.
of obviously getting the right fight for the boxer, the right time for him, but also a good fight that makes it worthwhile for the people coming to watch. That trying to get all three in one fight can be a bit tricky at times, and it's one of those ones where if it goes well, you've done good, but if it goes wrong, it's all on you, kind of thing, isn't it? So it's one of those ones. But no, honestly, I love it. To be fair, I do love it. Just the amount of time I probably sit on box rec looking through different people's records and watching them and stuff is probably ridiculous. But no, it's quite when you enjoy it though, it doesn't feel like it's really a job or anything. You just enjoy doing it. So
100%.
never
Yeah.
complain.
Yeah. And you've produced some fantastic shows to date since uh, your dad decided to come back into the pro game, which is what, 2 years now?
Yeah, I was looking this the other day as well. Actually, I think it was in June the 2023, so June or July
Hmm.
2023. So yeah, just about 2 years now. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the show you've got coming up It's the second time you've been at Alfreton Leisure Centre. It's June the 21st. Stella card, mate. We'll run through the card now. Is this going to be a venue that you probably use quite, because it's only up the road from Shinfield's gym? So is this likely to be a venue you're going to use a bit more often?
Yeah, I think it is really. They do like bowls there as well, so I think a lot of time it's kind of competing with the local bowls community
Yeah, yeah,
when they're not using it. But no, it's a venue we like. It's a decent sized venue. It's a long, big room as well. So I like the venue, and as you say, it's only around the corner from the Shinfield gym, and a lot of the fighters, to be fair. And honestly, it's only like 10 minutes up the road from where I am as well, actually. So it's quite convenient. But no, it's a brilliant venue. I think Alfreton's always kind of been a boxing town as a bit as well. So, I mean, I think at one time there was 3 or 4 different boxing gyms just in Alfreton, and it's only a small town. So,
yeah, yeah.
have all them in there. It kind of just proves what a boxing kind of town it is. So it's always nice to take championship fights back to Alfreton. Um, I mean, my dad grew up around the corner there in Summercoats as well. So I think it's always nice for him. But no, it's brilliant, brilliant venue.
Yeah, your dad was at Shinfields, wasn't he? And that gym's got lots and lots and lots of history. Brought through some great champions,
Mm.
and this brings us swiftly on to the main headliner for the card, which Jack Mantell is challenging Amir Abu Baker for the Midland Area Super Welterweight title. Massive opportunity for Jack this.
Yeah, massive opportunity. I think it's a great fight as well. It's one of those ones where I know Jack wanted it for a while. His fans wanted it as well, kind of thing. So for us, it was kind of just we was at the point where we needed to deliver for Jack, and we have done. Obviously, Abbey Baker's the champion. He's got a good record on him. What is it, 9-0, 8 knockouts, something like that. So
Eight and 05 KOs.
that's it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So he's obviously big puncher, good record. But I mean, when you get to these title fights, these are the kind of people you got to fight into, really.
Exactly that. And like you've just mentioned there, Jack's been chomping at the bit for a while now. I can imagine how he must have been doing your head in and your dad's head in about trying to make this fight.
But it was just, I think we always wanted to deliver for Jack as well.
Yeah,
So it was kind of just building him up to the right time, and then we knew we wanted it in Alfreton, not in Derby. So it was kind of waiting when we can get it to Alfreton, and then it all just kind of aligned after his last fight. It just kind of aligned that this is it now. It's this June 21st. It's Abbey Baker's the champion. This is who we've got for you. And I think he actually said it to me on the night of the last show in March. He said, "This is I've been told it's going to be brought to by the boxing board. I want it." And so from that point was like, all right, well, we'll speak into his manager and see what we can do. So got it all over the line. And honestly, I think it is a brilliant fight. It's a fight I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be non-stop action. Knowing how Jack boxes, seeing how Abu Baker is as well, I think it's going to be an absolute war, to be fair.
it is. It is. Jack tells me he's gonna be as strict as he possibly can with his boxing. But I know what Jack's like. He loves a tear up.
Yeah, 100%. And I think yeah, he does. He does. There's no way of denying it. He loves to get into a fight. And you saw it with the Taylor Gregg fight a bit as well. Was obviously Jack's biggest win on his record there. I think as the fight went on, he kind of got a bit more into a fight as it is sort of thing. And he obviously ended up stopping him in the 5th. It was, wasn't it? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think he's going to try and box him, and I think it's ended up going to be in a bit of a roll, to be fair. But I think it'd be a good fight for the fans.
Jack's got himself into fantastic shape. I came down the gym a couple of weeks ago and interviewed him while one Sunday morning. Interviewed him while he was down there sparring and stuff, and he looked in really good shape then. Not far off weight as well, which bodes really well, doesn't it?
Yeah, he looks in brilliant shape. He's been out to Future Ventura with Sam White, who's also on the show. They went out there together, and they have some good spars as well. So they was out there training, sparring. So I think that's definitely helped him a lot there. But but no, he's probably looking in the best shape I've seen him in, to be fair. And say with Jack as well, I was on about it last week in the gym. He started boxing when he was around 15 stone, and it was
No.
really just to kind of get him through some things he was going through. When he went on the unlicensed scene, um, did all he could on there. Really fought at Motor Point. I think he even got engaged at the Motor Point actually after one of his fights. He did, yes, he got engaged at the Motor Point after one of his fights. So did all of that on the EBF, and he turned pro. And I think it was more, if anything, just to kind of see what he can do. And he's obviously had a good few wins. Beat Taylor Gregg, what was a massive win, and now he's fighting for the Midlands title. Honestly, if anyone deserves it, it is Jack Mantell.
Definitely deserves it, mate. He's been a very steady fighter, building as well. Each fight on fight, building like you doing your job great for him. He's got himself into a position where he's ready for this. It's interesting, this super welterweight Midland area belt. It's changed hands quite a lot over the recent years. I
Yeah,
believe Amir Abu Baker won a vacant title against Callum Hill, who I think was only something like 4-0.
yeah,
So yeah, and I think Amir's only fought once since then, which
yeah.
was which went to a draw. So I think Amir's only had that one 10-rounder himself. So it's really interesting. It's a really interesting fight to see if it goes down the stretch, who's got the most left in the tank.
Yeah, 100%. I know Jack's only done 6 rounders as well, but there's no doubt that Jack Mantell can do a 10 rounder. That's just is an absolute machine. So there's no doubt in that kind of thing. So I think the longer it does go, I think the more it swings in Jack's favour. To be fair, but it's a brilliant fight, to be honest.
Yeah, dead right it is, mate. Okay, moving swiftly on. Commonwealth Silver Light Fly champion Liam Dring back to the venue where he won the title, which is interesting. He's in with Frenchman Teddy Fernandez. Tell me about how this fight came about, mate.
So Liam was meant to defend his Commonwealth title, silver title. We'd had I think we'd had 4 opponents in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It would have been, and for different reasons, one pulled out, the other one then pulled out, and he got to the point where I was thinking we're still looking for another opponent now. And then Teddy just kind of popped up out of nowhere on our Instagram, calling Liam out. Really,
Oh
so
wow, okay.
yeah, so I think I was sat in here actually, and I got the notification on my phone saying I'll fight Liam. So as we're looking for an opponent, I clicked onto it thinking, who's this? And then
Right.
I saw he's a French guy. I look at him. They've got a mutual opponent in Camille Barley as well. So I thought that was quite interesting. And I had a watch of him, and I thought he looks a good boxer. And I think it'll be a good fight as well. It's quite an aggressive style, but works well for Liam. So we kind of just spoke to the Shinfields and Liam himself, and Liam wanted that fight then. So we decided to go for the Frenchman Teddy. But there's a lot working on behind the scenes as well that I won't touch too much on today. But it could lead to a big fight for Liam in September, hopefully for us. So I won't go too much into that. But if everything goes well, it'll be a very very big fight back with us in September for Liam.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and like you say, you can't really say too much about it. I spoke to Liam again on that Sunday when I went down the gym. I spoke to Liam, and he's in a position now. He's silver champion. At some point, there's no point having a silver belt if that then silver champion does not get the opportunity to fight for the main Commonwealth title. I know that as a team you've tried to make that fight previously, which didn't happen at the time. So let's hope when Liam comes through this is a 10-rounder as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 10
When
rounds.
Liam comes through, I mean, he's a 10-round fighter now. There's no point taking him back down to 8s and 6s just to tick him over, is there?
100%.
So let's hope when he comes through this fight that can get made.
Yeah, no, for sure. And as you say, we have tried to make the fight before actually with Craig Derbyshire. But if anything, it just he had other stuff on at the time, so it was no means like he was avoiding Liam or
Yeah, yeah,
anything
yeah.
like that. He wants the fight, but it just wasn't the right time kind of thing for him. So that is why we've chosen Teddy. It'll be I'm actually looking forward to it. I've seen videos of him, and he's got a good aggressive style. So when he's coming to win, he's made it very clear over all social media. He's coming for Liam. What if anything excites me more? So I think it'll be a brilliant fight. That will.
Absolutely, mate. I think it's an absolute certainty to be a barnstormer. So,
Yeah,
okay, moving swiftly on. You've got a couple of fighters from Carl Greaves Promotions on the card. I know that you work quite closely with Carl. Your dad obviously promoted Carl back in the day, so there's a real link there. So the first one of the two fighters from Carl's stable, Callum Blockley, who's right up there in the mix. He's looking. I mean, you could probably say this is a tick over fight for him. I think he's back down as six rounder. The last two times he was out, he got a win over Jamie Stewart, and then he got a controversial draw against Jacob Quinn. And I think that Jacob Quinn was for a eliminator. So
it was actually.
yeah, so it'd be interesting to see when he comes through this fight what's next, because he's going to want to get back into title contention. He's fighting Owen Durnan, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. I think yeah. Obviously he beat Jamie Stewart, and I think that was last June actually. So he's been out of the ring for over a year now. So as much as Owen Durnan's kind of a fight to get him back in the mix, Owen
Yeah.
Durnan's not really a guy to be overlooked either.
No, no.
Um, I've seen him down in Cardiff it was, and his record doesn't quite his record isn't as good as he should be, kind of thing. He is a good boxer. I mean, even in his debut, he fought and beat Jensen Irvin, who was 4-3 at the time. So he definitely his record doesn't do him justice. That's the words I'm looking for. So no, I think as much as it probably is a bit of a tick over fight for Callum. It's a hard fight as well, and it's one that he can't be overlooking, thinking, I'm back in the mix for the Midlands title kind of thing if I beat him and focus on that. I mean, he's got to focus on this fight. As you say, is Carl Grieve Promotions guy. We always like working with Carl. So I don't know Blockley too much, so I'm assuming from what I do know of him, he's not the kind of person to overlook an opponent. To be fair, but no, it's nice to work with Carl as always, and Randall to have Blockley and Joe Mooney on the card. So that's exciting.
Absolutely, mate. And I didn't mean it disrespectfully to Owen Durnan either.
No.
Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I've spoken to Callum a few times. He definitely isn't the sort of fighter to overlook people,
Yeah,
and he'll train for this just the same as he trains for everything else. I'm absolutely certain. But it's important that he gets the right result here to push himself back on, doesn't it?
yeah, 100%. And I think if he does beat Owen, definitely does put him right back in the mix there. And when we saw him sparring last week with Sam and Jack and everybody, and no, he looks in good shape. To be fair, he looks like he's happy to be back in there after almost a year out. So that's exciting to have him on the show. And it's just really another great addition to an already brilliant card. To be fair,
Yeah,
so
absolutely,
we're
mate.
to have him on it.
Okay, Toby Bassett, who's currently 4-0. He's back in. He's going. I think it's fair to say this is a little bit of a step up, and this is where your matchmaking comes in. It's a bit of a forgotten art, matchmaking. People take it for granted, but it really is that you get the right opponents at the right time, and this is a perfect example. Toby Bassett is in against Owen Kirk. Now, Owen Kirk's record is 3-5-2, but again, it's another one of those where it doesn't probably do him justice. Being the away fighter, there's a few fights on that 5 losses that could have gone the opposite way. And it's definitely a step up in opponent level for Toby. This
100%. It's definitely Toby's hardest fight to date. I mean, last time at Ashton, he fought Zane Clark, but it was a tough match for him.
Yeah.
Obviously took a bit of time out of the ring, and now is back in March, and now he's obviously fighting June 21st against Owen Kirk. As you say, a big step up for him, really, and I think it's the right time for the step up. Obviously, he's 4-0. He's looked good in all 4 fights. I mean, him and his dad and Shinfields have all been wanting the step up, so um, here it is with Owen Kirk, and yeah, he's not to be underestimated, Owen Kirk. I know he's got a few losses on there, but he's also got a few good wins and some draws as well. Where obviously, you know, how it is sometimes a draw on the road can always mean you've won that. So
It is exactly that, mate. That's what I was saying.
yeah, so that's I think it's a big step up for him. But I mean, knowing Toby, I know they've probably been watching a lot of Owen and kind of seeing what they've got to deal with. Well, I'm assuming his dad has in the background kind of thing. I know Andy's always got his best interests in there. So yeah, no, that is a fight I'm happy we've got on the show, really. And it's one that will be a good test too. We just see really where he is and where we can go from next, kind of thing.
Andy's his biggest cheerleader, but also his toughest critic. Keeps
Yeah,
him grounded. It's a really interesting dynamic that they've got there, because he, like you say, he completely has his best interest at heart, and he won't stand for anything other than the very best from Toby.
hmm.
It's also an interesting dynamic. Toby being based in Northampton, you know, he trains quite a bit down his old amateur gym, doesn't he? And then comes up to Shinfields on weekends, sparring with the boys, connecting with the team. Yeah, really interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think it probably gives him a lot of different options when it comes to sparring as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
I'm assuming his sparring got a lot of sparring down in Northampton during the week. Then he'll come up on a Sunday, and then he's obviously got all the because we've got quite a few in the gym at that weight as well. To fair now, especially with Joe Mooney, he's been down there training the last 2 weeks, and that's obviously quite a similar weight to Toby as well. So with the likes of Joe Mooney, then he has also got the super welters in there, as in Sam, Jack, Dan. There's another guy in there, Demetrius, who's another tough operator as
an
well.
absolute monster.
Yeah, so he's got a lot of good sparring options on the Sunday there as well. What's good for him, and all different styles as well. Jack's obviously quite aggressive. Dan's a bit more rangy. So they're all different styles as well. So you get something to kind of mix up with all of them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's a great sparring. Second time Toby's been out this year. I spoke to him recently, and he was talking. He's got really ambitions to be pushing on this year as well to potentially move to. I think this is a 4-rounder, isn't it? And he's wanting to potentially move to sixes. Yeah, it's very interesting to see what happens with Toby.
Yeah, it is interesting. And in regards to the six, I think probably, depending on how all goes on June 21st, that'll probably be his next fight, to be fair, a 6-rounder.
Yeah.
Um, if honestly, because he had a bit of time out of the ring, he may have been on a 6-rounder sooner, but obviously had a bit of time out there due to a few injury kind of things. So just ease him back in with a couple of 4-rounders, and then I think it probably will be a 6-rounder next for him.
Okay. Sam Whitehead, who may I say is probably the nicest man I've ever met in boxing. Um, he's such a respectful guy. Last time out, mate, he was a little bit disappointed with his performance. He got a draw over at Magna Rotherham. Um, he beat himself up a little bit about that, and I think he's wanting to prove a point this time out.
Yeah, for sure. I think with Sam as well, I think obviously he had his debut at Alfreton. It'd been around a year ago, actually, just over
Yeah,
a year when the show is. He looked so good in his debut. I think the next fight on we gave him probably a bit of a tough match, but I genuinely still to this day believe he won that fight with Shane Smith, and I know a lot of people said he won that. So it's just one of those ones. If you kind of beat yourself up thinking, did I get that match wrong? And Sam's probably thinking, what could I have done to win that? But I genuinely think he did win that fight.
yeah,
So I think he got unlucky with that, to be fair. Then obviously got the draw last time up in Rotherham. So I mean, it's frustrating because he's very talented, and you can see that when he's boxing, he's got a brilliant style. So no, I think it's just making sure he gets the business done against Dale Arrowsmith on June 21st.
Like you say, Dale Smith, he's the utmost professional journeyman there is on the circuit. The guy's had 142 fights.
Yeah.
Um, he knows his way around the ring. You know, he has victories on his record. He's not a journeyman you can take lightly. Not one that you can take liberties against. Sam
No,
knows this, but
so,
Sam
yeah.
also knows that he's likely to learn more from Dale in this fight than he will from another 5 or 6 journeymen down the road.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think look, the options there to kind of try and go back and get the fight with Shane Smith again, or do the Sam Kirk one again. And I mean, there are options we can still do further down the line. But I think for Sam at the moment, I think it's important to get him a fight like the one with Dale, just somewhere where he can kind of. It's not a fight as such where it's always a rematch or anything. It's just one that can hopefully get him back to winning ways.
Absolutely, mate. Um, Moving on to Carl Grew's second fighter on the card, Joe Mooney. Joe's a real interesting character, so laid back, but he's made that massive decision to move permanently over to Leicestershire.
Yeah,
He's linked with Rendell Munro, who's obviously got links with Shinfield. So Joe was up last time I was up down at Shinfield's gym. Joe was there. Yeah, he's such a laid back, interesting character. He goes with the flow. He'll he'll take whatever opponents given to him without a second thought. Tell me who you got lined up for him for this card, mate.
so we've got him with Ian Morrell. I mean, he's had 2 fights so far, Joe has, and obviously won both there. So we've just got him
Yeah,
another one there with Ian Morrell, 4 rounder. So it should be, I think it should be. I mean, Joe's a talented guy. I think seen him sparring a few times now, and is as you say, he's quite laid back in the ring as well. To be fair, he kind of just takes his time, is very composed, manages distance very well as well. So I think it's just kind of getting him back in there as well with another fight there. So we've got him Ian Morrell for the 21st of June.
okay. Last but no means least, Dan the Man Lewis. He's out for his second pro fight, taking a little bit of time out for a slight injury, but he's back in against Jake Smith.
Yeah, that's right. So he was meant to be on the March show,
Yeah,
but got injured just a few weeks before. Actually, and he was meant to fight Jake Smith on that show. So I know he's gutted when he had to pull out with the injury, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? Really.
he's mate.
So we've got him back on obviously the June 21st show. What was the next opportunity for him? I know he wanted to be on there as well. So we've got him back in with Jake Smith. And I think it's a good little test for Dan. I think obviously he beat Dale in his debut, and with this being his second fight, I think Jake's style kind of works well for Dan as well. So it's just seeing how Dan does there. But I think as long as he uses that long jab he's got, because he is quite rangy, I think he should be all good with that one.
Dan's a very exciting fighter, mate.
Yeah,
He's one of those fighters that keeps you on the edge of your seat because you don't know what's going to happen. So
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to this.
No, I do get what you mean there. Even when he's sparring, to be fair, he'll be throwing that long jab out, and the next minute he'll be in southpaw, and he's coming forward, and he's exciting to watch. I like Dan as well, and it's kind of actually a funny story. Have I ever told you a story about how Dan got into boxing?
No,
Oh, it's quite a funny story actually. So I'm the year above Dan in school. We both went to school together.
right.
And I was the year above him, and was both on a night out in Mansfield. And I got speaking to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, I want to get into the boxing stuff more." So I said to him, "Oh, go and speak to my brother. He does all the EBF stuff, and he was out the same night as well." So sent him off to my brother, and they had a bit of a chat about it. And I saw him like the following week, and then got speaking to him again. I didn't see him for a few weeks. And I went down to Shinfield's gym, and he was down there training. So I was like, "Oh, so he was like, you got into it then?" And he's like, "Yeah, yeah. I've spoke to your brother, spoke to Jay, and I'm down here at Shinfields." So so he'd got down there after speaking to us in Mansfield about it, and I went to Canada for obviously 2 years, came back, and then next minute I knew I was matching his pro debut. So I thought it was quite funny. I was both in Mansfield talking about it, and next minute I'm matching his debut.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story, mate.
Yeah, but no, I went all the way through school with Dan as well, so I've known him, God, years now.
It's really interesting. It's really interesting to see what happens with him because he's a real nice kid, isn't he?
Yeah, really nice kid.
So, just before we bring the interview to an end, mate, tell everybody that's watching this that even if they're not linked to any of the Shinfield fighters, how they can get a ticket for this show. I'm assuming there's some left.
Yes, there is some left, but they are going fast, to be fair. So if you are wanting tickets, you can reach out to us at John Ashton Promotions. It's definitely not a show to be missed. You've got 2 10-round fighters, one for the Midlands title, one other international matchup, plenty of other good fights on the card. So I mean, it's definitely not a show to be missed. So make sure you get your tickets whilst they are still available.
And one more thing before you go, mate, a little bit of a shout out to some of the gym promoters, some of the gym sponsors, and the big one that also sponsor us by chance, SC Travel. They do massive stuff for Shinfields, don't they?
Yeah, they're honestly such huge help, to be fair. They always help out with the shows, and honestly, a lot of the time without those, it probably wouldn't be possible to get on these title fights or have 2 10-round fights on one show kind of thing. So without John and SC Travel together, it honestly wouldn't be possible. So huge shout out to them guys.
Great stuff. Well, Harry, it's always a pleasure talking to you, mate. We'll be down there fight night. We'll get some post-fight interviews. Let's hope it's a clean sweep for John Ashton Promotion fighters, and we can move on to big things. Once again, mate, much appreciated. Anyone watching this, like, comment, subscribe. You'll see all the stuff that comes on the channel. For now, mate, we'll call that an end, and I'll see you on the 21st.
Lovely. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it as always. See you on the 21st of June.
Thanks, pal.
Cheers, mate.